Hi there, my name is Margaret Michaelopoulos, and I work for the Pediatric Dental Office of Doctors Morrow, Lai, and Kitterman.
Get ready to enter the Thrivetime Show.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
We started from the bottom, now we're on the top. Teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colin Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of five, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the C&Z up on your radio. And now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to interview the Greek freak. She is the best thing that I've ever seen as it relates to marketing in medicine. I'm not kidding. I have worked with, at this point, hundreds of doctors. I've worked with dozens of dentists. I've worked with lots of lawyers. I've worked with many mechanics, and I work with all these different industries, and there's just nobody who's ever brought their Dream 100 game to the next level. Now, if you don't know what Dream 100 is, there's a book written by Chet Holmes. He was a former top advisor to Charlie Munger, who used to work for Warren Buffett. The book's called Ultimate Sales Machine. Anyway, Ultimate Sales Machine, there's a whole chapter devoted to the Dream 100. And what the Dream 100 is you make a list of the ideal and likely buyers. Like, let's make a list of the shows you want to get interviewed on. You want to make a list of the doctors you want to refer you. You want to make a list of the businesses you want to refer you. So if you're a personal trainer and you want local businesses to refer you business. If you want the local chiropractor to refer you, or the local family medicine place, or the local cosmetic surgeon to refer you to your personal training business, you would make a list of all the top 100 businesses where your ideal and likely buyers congregate, and you would reach out to them until your head explodes to get them to refer you personal training deals. Another example, Dr. Zellner, my longtime friend and client, if you go to z66aa.com, z66aa.com, his entire business is based upon the Dream 100. He sells used cars. They sell 1,000 cars every Friday. And you know how they do it? They make a list of all the used car dealers in Oklahoma, and they call them all until they cry, buy, or die. And the level of rejection that they receive is too much for the average person, because the average person is a weak, wet noodle who can't handle any rejection. But today's guest somehow takes the rejection and loves it. She's like a honey badger. She is like she's the Greek freak of marketing, and America is just the premier honey badger. Now, if you don't know what a honey badger is, folks, you got to get educated. A honey badger is an animal that survives eating snakes and eating bee honey. That's what it does. And it survives by eating the food. It eats bee honey and eats snakes, so it gets bit by snakes and stung by bees, but it continues because it's a relentless machine. It's my mascot. I love honey badgers, and the only thing I love more than honey badgers is the Greek freak of marketing. Margaret, welcome onto the Thrivetime Show. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm doing great. First of all, Clay, you're better than baklava. You are too kind.
You made baklava one time, and you brought it, and my wife and I brought it home. And I brought it home, and my wife was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the best!" And you made it yourself, right?
I did not.
Oh, you did!
Busted. So busted.
But you got it from the Greek festival, right? So it's kind of okay.
I did. Thank you.
Miriam, I want to get your thoughts before we begin interviewing our friend here, Margaret. Why do you think that with 160 clients I have, that Margaret is one of the only two people that is willing to relentlessly market, in this case, the pediatric dentistry, to pediatricians, despite how many rejections she gets? Why is that?
Because she is not weak. You know, when you think about the kids today and people today, I don't know what your parents did to you, but there's something about discipline. There's something about a strong work ethic. And like you said just earlier before the show, tell them what you said about what she said to you.
So when I was a little girl, there were things that I wanted from other people, and I was always hesitant to ask. And I have a dynamic mother. And she said, Margaret, all you have to do is ask. And all they can do is tell you no. But you won't know unless you ask for what you want.
What was your mom's name?
Her name is Mary Burgess.
Mary Burgess? And so is Mary Burgess still with us?
She is.
And is she still a fireball?
She is. She's 88 years old.
Oh.
She's president of 2 HUD buildings. She built HUD. She worked for Texaco for 50 years.
Wow.
Retired. Then she built 2 HUD apartment complexes for elderly people.
And her name again? What's her?
Mary Burgess.
Mary Burgess. So God bless Mary Burgess. So I'm going to continue.
Wow.
So, and Margaret, what's your last name so people can prove you're not a hologram?
It's Michaelopoulos.
And I'm going to get a headshot from you that you like here in a minute, so I'll put it on the thumbnail so you can get your flattering headshot. So let's talk about this. So you work with the pediatric dentistry. It's a real business. It's called
Correct.
MLKdentistry.com.
Correct.
MLKdentistry.com. I've had an opportunity to work with Dr. Joe Lai for over 10 years, and Dr. Joe Lai is married to April Lai, and April Lai is one of the partners at MLK Dentistry. So I've got a rich history working with the Lai family, and then Dr. Morrow. So how do you decide which pediatricians that you're going to go to?
So what I do is I do a couple things. I do a Google search, pardon me, of all pediatricians in the Tulsa area. And
All of them.
And then I look in the surrounding areas.
Oh.
Like Bigsby, Owasso, Broken Arrow. Another thing that's really important, whenever we have a new patient come in, it's so important that we find out who referred them to us.
So you step one, if you're out there, I'm going to take notes because, again, you are the Greek freak and the God's gift to marketing. What you do, I'm not exaggerating. This is not me messing around here, folks. I'm telling you. I can't tell you how many I have a young girl this week who, God bless her, I had to fire her. I had to fire her on Monday, okay? And I'll speak in generality. People don't know when this show came up. I had to fire her, okay? She's a former star athlete, and her job is to go to the mall, and we sell log cabins, and so I have a kiosk right now at the mall where I sell log cabins, and they're like bolt-on bedrooms. I'll pull it up, Margaret, so you can see it. It's called bunkylife.com. And I'm just selling these in the mall, okay? It's like a bolt-on bedroom, okay? And so her job is to pass out a brochure and say, hey, if you would like a brochure, here you go. And if you'd like a chance to win one, all I need you to do is leave a review. That's her job. So I send out Lily, who's great. She's out here. Lily gets 47 leads, and 47 people in a day left a review, gave her the contact information, and I pay $5 per lead that our team generates. So Lily made like $200 in one day, $250, okay? I send out this former top athlete to the mall, and she gets 7. And I said, you got 7? She goes, well, people were saying no. I'm going, your entire job is to say, hey, would you like to win this cabin? Would you like to win a flat screen TV? All you have to do is take a tour, leave a review. And we sent another guy named Greg. Greg got 137 leads in a day, in half a day. Greg made $500 in a half a day. Lily was there all day, got 47. This former pro athlete, former top athlete, and former top college athlete gets 7.
7. Wow.
And so I'm going, hey, I'm paying you $5 per review or $12 an hour. I mean, you're not even paying for yourself. And she's like, I don't do well with rejection. So I want to get your thoughts. So step 1, I'm taking notes here. Step 1, you create the list. So step 1, create the list of your ideal and likely referral sources. Okay, we got that.
Right. So you have to have like a master list.
Master list.
So then the second question is, how do you come up with this master list? And there's a couple of different ways. You can, research on the internet.
Yep.
But the most important thing is to get it from word of mouth from your customers.
Right.
So when you have a new customer walk in the door, that should be one of the, after you thank them for coming, the second thing should be, how did you hear about our office?
Oh,
That seems logical. Seems like you would just naturally do that.
What you're doing right now, it's somewhere between spiritual and metaphysical. Let me tell you what I'm hearing in my mind right now. Let me cue it up here. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing what you're doing. It's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, so then you go out every week.
Correct.
And how many hours do you have to devote, per week to go to these? How many doctors are you going to first off, and how long does it take you?
I try to go to 7 to 10 doctors. What I do is I take a little something with me.
Ooh.
So I'm not walking in empty-handed and just passing out cards. I try to take
baklava.
Yes, I do sometimes. Brownies, cookies, candy, little lotions. I try to have something in hand that I can drop off where I pitch the sales pitch about the office.
Now, real quick, Miriam, I won't mention the name of the person, but you saw me just do this. You just 40 minutes ago.
Yes.
You have to bring value.
Yes.
You have to. You can't just show up and go, "Hey,
Give me
do you want to
something."
refer me?" You know. So if you were, let's pretend I hired you, and we're going back 10 years, or 15 years in the past, and I had my photography company. It was a big company called Epic Photos. I don't own it anymore, but let's pretend I hired you, okay?
Okay.
And you were going to wedding venues, and you were trying to get the wedding venues to refer us brides and grooms. Let's just say I hired you to do that.
Okay.
The way I did it is I told our Dream 100 person, I said, I'll pay you $300 for every wedding that you generate. And there's a target list of about 100 venues in Tulsa. And you're allowed to provide the venue coordinator free family photos, free wedding photos, a free flat screen TV. You can give them a flat screen TV to display images of their venue. You can do photos of their venue. You can give free photos for their family photos, and free wedding photos for that family. Those are all the things that you can give out. And you can pay the person that refers you $100 every time they refer you. You can pay the front desk lady at the hotel $100 every time they refer us a deal.
That's amazing.
And wouldn't that be amazing, though?
Yes.
That'd be a good job.
There's a guy who worked for me, we'll call him Joel, okay, because it's kind of his name. But Joel would make like $3,000 a week doing this because it's so easy. But yet I had to go through like dozens of people to find Joel. Why?
So you have to have the personality.
Ooh.
So sometimes when you walk in the door and you don't get the response that you probably hope for, you just can't give up. So you have something in hand, you're dropping it off. The second time you walk in that same place, they're going to start remembering you. The third time, they're going to look forward to seeing you.
Yeah.
So
Now, okay, say that again, because what you're saying, it's not quite spiritual or metaphysical. It might be better than that. I mean, I feel like I went to some sort of psychological retreat. I mean, this is like what heaven's going to be like. I'm going to get to heaven, and I'm going to have you teaching me the Dream 100. Can you explain it again? This is powerful, because somebody said, what did you just say? There's multiple steps here.
Okay, so when you walk through a door the first time, you don't know what kind of response you're going to get.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could get a positive response. You could get a negative response. You know, you have to value their time.
Yep.
Because that's important. They could be in the middle of something. So you do your sales pitch, you leave a little something off, and then you go back again. Regardless of what happened the first time. You go back again. By this time, they're starting to remember you because you're walking in with something again. By the third time, they're looking forward to seeing you.
Now let me tell you a story, and you tell me what you would do. Have you ever been to Five Oaks Lodge?
I have.
I know Randy, the guy who owns it, is going to listen to this. So, Randy, you know this is true. You know this is true. This isn't slander. By the way, it's been 10 years, so you can, if someone wants to sue me for something that happened 10 years ago, deal with it. But Randy wouldn't sue me. But other people, if you want to sue, went to Five Oaks, and I go there, and Miriam, I go there. I'm 20-something years old, and I'm going. I'm a DJ, and I really would love it. I'm working at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV.
At one time?
Yeah, I had 3 jobs, and so I'm working. And I go there, and I said, hey, I have a DJ company. I'd love it if you'd refer me, Randy. And Randy goes, okay, you can talk to my wife because it's her venue. And Five Oaks is a beautiful place, by the way, beautiful place. And Randy and I became very good friends, but I'm just telling you, this is how the story went. And she says, I don't like you.
Rejection.
And I'm like, so you're saying there's a chance? That's kind of how I think. So I said, can I ask you why? And she said, every other DJ brings a professional linen to cover their table when they DJ. They provide entertainment. And you don't. And I go, well, I mean, I'm 20 years old. I don't know. I was born yesterday, I go, well, I DJ'd for Adam Spuler's graduation party. I think it was the first event you ever did at your place. And he was very happy. She goes, he was happy they danced all night, but it looked terrible. Like, why don't you get a professional linen? Now, I grew up poor, so I'm going, what's a linen? True story. And she said, what? And I said, what is it? And she said, you got to get a black linen. I said, where do you get these? Because I didn't know. I was just starting out as a DJ.
Right, that'd be the first question I would tell her. What color linen do you want me to get?
And she said, get a black. And I go, and where should I buy them from? And she tells me. And then I came back, and I'm like, Claudia. And I came back with the linen. And she goes, you got the linen. And I said, yeah. And I said, I know there's part of you that wants to refer me and part of you that wants to kick me out of your venue right now. But the part that wants to keep me in the venue wants to just, and she goes, you're ridiculous. And I ended up getting the referrals. I ended up getting like 3 weddings every week from that place.
That's awesome.
But why would most people stop? Is it because they have a soul? Is it because they're aware of patterns? What makes people quit?
Most people are hesitant to ask for anything.
They're back to what your mom said.
Right. And I'm not.
See, that's
I'm 4 feet 11. I always have people standing in front of me. I got to push my way to the front of the line.
There you go. There you go.
You've had these thoughts.
Yes.
See, this is powerful. And I think what happens is I talked to these guys the other day, and I'm not going to mention their name. I feel bad because they're somebody's kids, but they're former athletes. They're big guys, big athletic guys. And they were wanting me to help them with their podcast. And they would, I'm not kidding, these 2 men, they would literally cry when people would reject them.
Wow.
And I'm going, I don't know what happened to you guys. I mean, you're good at sports. Why do you think that?
And
they were
also,
like breaking down.
It could not be you personally. There could be something else going on.
There it is.
They could have a bad morning,
Yeah.
short staff.
But you just keep going back.
There's a lot of things. So you can't give up. Don't give up.
But you just keep going.
Keep going.
You keep flowing.
I do.
And you don't stop.
And then when I don't go for a while,
Yeah.
if I've gone a few times and they're still not overly receptive, then I'll wait a while and then I'll go back in. 9 times out of 10, they go, we haven't seen you in a while.
Now, let's talk about this for a second. You know, I think this is, do you remember when video killed the radio star? Miriam,
Yes.
do you remember this? You know, there's a song called Video Killed the Radio Star, but it actually happened. Because it used to be, you could be like kind of a frumpy, ugly individual, and you could be a rock star in like the 60s because no one saw you. Serious. But then like now you have to be like able to dance. Now you don't even have to sing. Now they use like auto-tune. So then they have like a bunch of models that perform, but they're not even good at singing. It's the craziest thing. But video killed the radio star. Remember this?
Yes.
Yeah.
And text message killed voicemail.
Yes.
I believe that podcast testimonials will kill resumes. How about that? Because you are so good at what you do. We have to document this right now. So this
You're
is like
so
your
kind.
audio. No, seriously, this is like an audio. Now listen, this podcast, we have about 1 million listeners a week, and I want everyone to know that the Greek Freak is the best. And I'm going to keep your phone number in my phone because you're going to be like, everyone wants to hire you, but there's only one employer lucky enough to have you. I mean this. I'm going to read the stats because now I'm going to get past the whole that I like you thing. I'm moving past that. I'm blinded by the fact I like you, but I'm going to just get into facts. In a typical week for this particular business, MLK Dentistry, in a typical week, we're going to have about, and tell me if I'm wrong, we're going to have about 35 new patients, typical week. Some weeks lower, some more. but-
Correct. Approximately 35.
And on an average week, I'm reading off the numbers. You have 16 referrals. You got 1 week. 15. We had 1 week where it was like a vacation week and some weird stuff. So that's a 1, but that was a week we were kind of shut down. But we only had for the week like 6 leads total, and you got 1 of them. Then we had the next week you got 9 of the 29 leads. Then you got 13 of the 35 leads you generated. 11, and I'm doing the internet marketing. I'm helping with the branding and all that. And we're generating about, I'd say, 20% of the leads, and you're generating about 30% of leads. That's just how I look at it objectively. You got 1 week we have 49 new patients, and you generated 21 of them.
Right. So I had a personal goal.
Ha!
I had a personal goal I did not tell the doctors. I always wanted to get over 20 referrals in a week.
This was a record week here.
That was and I did it a few times. That was my personal,
It's the best. I mean,
for me.
folks, if you had any idea how sincerely excited I am, you'd have no idea. This is. I haven't been this excited since I bought myself a wood engraved eagle. Have you seen my wood eagle out there?
I have not.
We were in South Dakota. Have you been to South Dakota?
Yes.
We're
I
in
have.
South Dakota, and I walked by this store. This guy named Dahl, D-A-H-L. I'll show you real quick here. And he makes carved stuff out of wood. And I went to my flow state. I lost track of space and time. And my wife's like, honey,
Come back.
are you with us? And I'm going, shh. And I said, what we see here is God's gift to woodwork. It's called Dahl's Chainsaw Art. Dahl's,
Oh,
D-A-H-L,
my gosh.
chainsaw. And I'm looking here, and this guy, he's going, and he's just, and I'm watching him, I'm going, this guy, he's doing it. Like what we are seeing, he's doing it. Like he's making, he's carving a piece of wood, and it looks like a piece of wood. Next thing you know, I'm going, I have to watch this. And they're like, honey, you've been here for an hour. You got to move on. I go, no. I will watch. I'm with the guy for hours. The family's like, Dad, can we eat? I'm like, did George Washington take time to eat? No, he saved the country. They're like, Dad, what does this have to do? I'm like, shh, we will watch the wood. They're like, we're moving on. I stayed there all afternoon, just, and he's just cutting her. And anyway, the eagle emerges. Ah! And I'm like,
Wow.
I must buy this eagle from you. And the guy's like, you want to buy the eagle? Where do you live? I go, Tulsa. He's like, ooh, how are you going to get it here? And I called JT. I said, JT, you know what you're doing tomorrow? And he said, what am I doing? I said, you're driving to South Dakota. So he drove from Tulsa to South Dakota to buy this thing. I think the total distance was 10 hours and 46 minutes each way. He stayed in a hotel that night, came back
With the eagle.
with the eagle.
It's incredible.
And I haven't been as excited about anything since the eagle in business. I mean, just in my life. I mean, this is like, I love Saving America, but this is
Close
incredible.
second.
This is, I mean, meeting Eric Trump was exciting, but meeting the Greek
eagle?
freak of marketing. No, I'm serious. You are a 2 out of 1,000. Is sort of the now. What would you say to somebody who's their job? They own a business, and these two guys, God bless them, they were going every time we ask somebody, they reject us.
So first of all, you have to have someone that truly believes in your product.
Okay.
So in all fairness, we were patients of Doctors Morrow, Line, Kitterman before I got this job, and I'd always loved the office. I'd loved the staff. Dr. Morrow gave my children, just helped them have beautiful teeth, beautiful smile that they, of course, would last a lifetime. And I got lucky and approached them about if they ever did marketing, I would like to be in charge of that. And they gave me the opportunity and let me be creative, and the rest is history.
What I'm trying to do right now is Dr. Morrow, your boss, is a great guy, and so I'm trying to like convince him that I'm trying to start using like a reality jujitsu on him, where I'm starting to convince him it's 2015, so he'll work 5 more years or 7 more years.
Yes.
I'm trying to, because he's so great, and eventually he might retire. But I'm just saying he is great. But you are God's gift to marketing, and I'm going to put a link here. My good friend, Michael Levine, I'll put a link here to you. On today's show, I'm going to put a link, folks, so you can watch this. But Michael Levine is a friend of mine who can't read. This is him. He can't read. He's dyslexic. And yet he became the PR consultant for Charlton Heston, for Michael
Holy
Jackson,
cow.
for Prince, for Bill Clinton, for George Bush, for Pizza Hut, for Nike. I'm going to pull it up here. Let me pull this up real quick here. So we type in Michael Levine, PR, and he couldn't read.
Wow.
And I asked him, bro, how did you become the PR guy? And he says, well, I can't read, and apparently I'm not that smart, but I just didn't stop. And so that's what I did. I just cold called people. And so and so on part 2 of today's show, we're going to hear from Michael Levine, and he's going to break down how he did it. And we had a conference we did, Margaret, a few years ago, and I don't know if I'll bring him back because I loved it, but it was pretty rough. A person's like, how do I get over my anxiety when people reject me? And he's like, you will be a pathetic loser if you don't get over it. So get over it or be a pathetic loser, but quit asking me dumb questions. And I'm like, oh. Snap. She paid for a ticket. Okay, because that's how he thinks, So what would you say, maybe a nicer way, to somebody who's watching this, though, who, they want to do the Dream 100, and but they just, every time they get rejected, inner dialogue, they begin to talk negative to themselves. They quit. Other people talk negative to them. Because I was with you kind of at the very beginning of the Dream 100, and there was no fruit. For how long was there no fruit?
What do you mean by
How long was it until you got referrals? Like, was it a week, 2 weeks, 10 weeks, a year?
Probably a couple of weeks.
Okay.
I hit my first group every week hard.
Yeah.
That's what you suggested.
Yeah.
I go every week, 4 weeks in a row.
Yep.
It's
awesome.
But with this job, you can't look at what you don't get. You have to look at what you do get.
That's right.
That's so good.
I mean,
You are a wordsmith.
you have to go into this knowing, hey, not everybody's going to refer to you. Not everybody's going to be open, but hey, there may be a time when they are going to be open. Because you're just walking in cold on them. you got to give them a little bit of benefit there.
My client that I'm going to interview, I'm not going to interview, I'm going to meet him in about 19 minutes. This guy, he just sold his business for $3.2 million last Friday. Got the check, $3.2 million. And when I first met him, he was doing like $0. I'm serious. And he had been in the business for a long time. And the only thing that changed at all, we built the website and helped him, but he had a mindset shift, and he did the Dream 100. And I won't mention what industry he's in because he wants to keep it private, but basically he took the money up front, and now he's going to run it. No one knows he sold it, and he'll stay in it for about a year, and then he's moving on. But this guy, he had a great product, but it wasn't going to sell itself. And he had to have that mindset shift. And he said to me, I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, I had to get to where I was having like a breakdown at your conference before I was ready for a breakthrough. It had to get really bad, And Miriam, I mean, I think there's somebody out there right now, they're like, oh man, I want to be the Greek freak of marketing. I just don't know if I can do what Margaret does.
You can. You just have to have the determination, the will. Don't give up.
Yep.
Don't get rejected.
Yep.
Keep the smile on your face.
Yep.
And just keep going.
Now, if people want to hire you, should they text me and then I text you? Is that that's the
absolutely.
flow?
Yeah, you'll get how much of a 10%?
I don't need any commission. I'm on a
Dealing
mission.
and dealing.
No, I'm just doing it. I don't need a commission at all. I'm just saying. I mean, if people are out there and they go, I need a Dream 100 person. I mean, if someone wants to hire you, they text me.
They can.
Okay, so if you're listening right now and you want to hire Margaret, you text me 918-851-0102. 918-851-0102. I'm just throwing it out here. I suggest that the compensation structure that you have out there would be very similar to how I did it with my photography company. I had a guy named Joel. Well, that's his nickname because that was his actual name. And this guy had no experience doing anything at all ever. I found this guy, and he was the only guy out of like dozens of candidates that was willing to go to the actual venues every week. And I said, Joel, every time that a venue refers us, I will pay you a $300 commission. Because we're charging like $2,500 for a wedding. I'll pay you $300 every time. And I'm going to give you the tools that you can provide free photos for the venue. You can even pay a $100 commission if they refer you. Those are the tools you have. And Joel ended up making $3,000 every single week, $150,000 a year. I would suggest that someone needs to be able to compensate you at least at that level before they even text me.
Correct.
No, I'm serious.
Absolutely.
You're a big deal. People, I mean, you're the Greek freak. Any final thoughts, Miss Greek Freak, that you'd like to share? Because it's incredible what you do. I mean, it's sincere. This is a highlight of probably at least 2.5 years. I got the Eagle 2.5 years ago.
I've met so many nice people in this job that it's almost like whenever I go see them, I look forward to seeing them.
There it is.
But, like going back to, I believe in the product. I believe in the doctors. We've got the best doctors in Tulsa, Oklahoma for pediatric dentistry. And when you believe in something and you enjoy what you're doing, it shows.
Well, and I think too, it's like, this is really funny, but, as I put out podcasts, I'm just going to, maybe I'll impress or depress a listener out there. But, I did a show this morning had 7,914 views.
Wow.
But that's also
That's
like kind of
amazing.
depressing. Because, I did an incredible show. I was pretty proud of my work. I was like, man, I killed the game. And I only have 4,000 views on my favorite show this week. I'm an idiot. Oh, man, inner dialogue. I should probably quit. But then I do another show. So if you go to Rumble right here, I'm just going to show you, and you do some just searching around on Rumble, you'll find some of my shows. And some of them are, let me see here. Some of them now have 50,000, 126,000, 100,000 views. So some are great,
Wow.
some are not. But you said something that was key, and I'll let you go. You said you want to focus on what you do get
Correct.
and not what you don't get?
Right.
Okay.
Count your blessings.
It's powerful. Miriam, any final thoughts you have? Because you've observed that which is awesome. You're here in the studio. Any other final question you have for Margaret or any just observations you have?
Well, I've just noticed, I think she genuinely likes people too. I think she genuinely goes in there and she's genuinely having a good time and is enjoying them. And I think people know that if you're there just to check a box, like I have 10 offices I need to go to, or I get to see 10 offices and I get to see these people. And I bet they immediately feel that.
I'm going to put on the notes here. If you want to learn more about the Dream 100 and you want to actually see more of Margaret breaking it down, you can do that. I'm also going to put a link here to Bunky Life so you can know I really do have a cabin in the mall right now. I'm also going to put a link to the momsonamission.net podcast because Miriam has a great podcast. And if you're out there and you're a mom and you're on a mission, if you're a mom and you're not on a mission, if you're a mom and you're working
You
on
don't
a
want
mission.
you don't want your kid to be a Marxist.
There you go. Then you
Yeah.
need to subscribe.
Yeah.
Moms on a Mission. That's a great place to go. Thank you, too, for your time, your energy. I appreciate
Thank you.
Yes,
Clay, you're
thanks.
amazing.
No,
You are
seriously, I am.
amazing.
This is a highlight of 2.5 years. It's incredible. Okay, I mean, I'm not. This is no artificial funk. This is serious. I do not lather and heap this kind of praise on anybody ever. I don't.
no,
I'm
he
a very
doesn't.
low praise person. I'm kind of like hey, it was your job, good job. But this was like the Super Bowl of marketing interviews. So
You know what? You make me want to be better.
you're awesome. We're gonna end with a boom. Here we go. 3, 2, 1,
Boom.
I'm Michael Levine, and I thought I'd tell you this story. Maybe it'll be of some value to you. You know, about 25 years ago, our PR firm was running hot as hell, and we had 6 of the top 20 musical artists in America on the Billboard charts. No company even had 2, and here we are with 6. So we had the most number of successful artists in the country by far, but I still wanted to sign another musical artist who hadn't been on the charts for a while, but I loved and respected greatly. I wanted to sign the great Ray Charles. Ray Charles. I decided that even though I had all these big stars, I was going to go after Ray Charles, and I called him, and I ultimately did sign him. I did sign him. But I'd like to ask you, listening to this right now, to try to guess. Just close your eyes and try to guess how many times I called Ray Charles before I signed him. Are you gonna, all right, let's try to close our eyes, Here we go. Now, we'll do it multiple choice. Did I call him A, 10 times, B, 20 times, C, 30 times, D, 40 times, or E, more than 40 times? So now close your eyes. Now write down your answer. Write it down. Don't you cheat now. Write down your answer. I'm going to give you the correct answer in 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. All right, here we go. Correct answer is 46 times. I called Ray Charles' office 46 times. And you want to hear something crazy? I didn't even need Ray Charles. Here I had all the other big music stars. But I think the story for some of you may have impact when you think about all the tenacity required to go after your big dreams. I'm not talking about little dreams, talking about big dreams. Anyway, I'm Michael Levine.
We've all been through something that would give us adequate justification for being a lifetime victim. Or we could say we now have adequate motivation to become a victor. I used to stutter as a kid. I grew up poor. I was sexually abused as a kid. My best friend was killed when I was in college. My wife had a late-term miscarriage. My son was born blind. My dad died from Lou Gehrig's disease. And those are not my justifications or my excuses. We could all check the victim box, or we could check the box that says victor. Today's guest grew up in a home where he was raised by an alcoholic father, and yet he became the #1 public relations consultant of all time. Today's guest grew up severely dyslexic and was called dumb, yet he became a multiple-time New York Times best-selling author. Today's guest grew up in New York, yet he moved to California, where he knew no one, and he went on to become the public relations consultant of choice for Nike, for Prince, for President Bush, for Michael Jackson, for Nancy Kerrigan, for Barbara Streisand, for 58 Academy Award winners, 38 Grammy Award winners, and 43 New York Times best-selling authors. And so we had the honor of having Michael Levine attend our last in-person Thrivetime show workshop. And when he spoke about why you need to decide whether you want to become a victim or a victor, I was taking notes, I was wowed by his intensity, and I was making sure that our editors were editing a few of the colorful metaphors and descriptive four-letter words that he was saying during his presentation, and so we edited the show up so that it is now family-friendly. And now, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce to you my epic friend and my PR consultant of choice, Mr. Michael Levine. Michael Levine, folks, let's hear it for him.
Hello. Now, let's see. I want to make sure I can move around a little bit. Can you hear me okay? How are you? Good. It's good to see you. I really do want to move around a little bit and visit with you. I've already met some of you. I have never seen a place like this in my life. It's really fun. And I have never been to Tulsa before. It's cold here. Wow. I'm from California. This is cold. Anyway, I am really thrilled to be here. Thank you, Clay.
I am excited to have Michael here. One, because we brought him to Tulsa, and he's like, Tulsa, is that a place?
Yeah. Is this guy an original or what? Will you applaud an original? I mean, is this guy an original? Now, before I begin, I want to ask you a question. Now, you going to be straight with me or not? You're going to tell me the truth? Because, no, I want to know you. I want you to know me. Is there anyone, I've never been to Tulsa before, and I have, certain images in my mind and all that from California. I was born in New York. And is there anyone here, and feel free to say if you are, is there anyone here that's off-put, offended, off-put by what might be referred to as rough language? Anyone here? Now, come on, tell me. Colorful language. Hush up.
I'm sorry, everybody, in advance.
No? Okay, you all right? All right. That's cool, because if you were, that's all right, too. I used to get a bell sometimes. Instead of cursing, I'd hit the bell, but that's all right. Anyway, listen, let me start with a confession. I'm going to offer you a confession. I fell into this public speaking business by accident. I had no training of any kind, pretty much like all the other things I've done in my life. I fell into it by accident. I had no training. And so if I had gone to some kind of Dale Carnegie course, I guess I would have been told to begin today with a story. And so I will. And I figured, what kind of story can I tell my friends? Does this move out more? Is there any?
I think you might have hit the max capacity.
I hit the max?
I think you hit the maximum capacity.
If somebody.
We have a crack squad of Mike Extension team members. We can make it happen for you. Marshall's on it. The tallest man in the world is going to help you.
All right. So I'm going to begin with a story, and I figure, what story can I tell my friends in Tulsa? What story? And I'm going to tell you a story because I'm from Hollywood. I'm going to tell you a story about Hollywood. Okay? Now, it's a story about old Hollywood. Old Hollywood. You're too young to remember this. All right. Does anybody here old enough to know or remember the name of the literary agent Swifty Lazar? Anybody here know who Swifty Lazar? Swifty Lazar. You do? All right. Son, who's Swifty Lazar? The biggest literary agent of all time. Now, he passed away years ago, and he was real small, and he had big glasses, but he was the biggest literary agent in the history of Hollywood. And son of a... He spent 6 years of his life signing his biggest client. 6 years to sign his biggest client. Cary Grant. Now, you don't even know who Cary Grant is. Who knows who Cary Grant is? Let me tell you who Cary Grant is, darling. Cary Grant would be George Clooney times 1,000. Yes? Yes, say yes. Don't make me raise my voice. Now, Cary Grant, he signs his biggest client of all time. There's no email then. So he comes into the office, Cary Grant, in his office, signing his client 6 years, signing his contract. He signs his contract. Now, Cary Grant is getting ready to leave the office. Leave the office. And he puts his hand on the door, right, to leave, facing that way. And he says, Mr. Lazar, before I leave, I have one final question. Are you Jewish? And Swifty Lazar was reported to have said, not necessarily. Not necessarily. I guess he wanted that contract. Anyway, as I told you, I had an odd journey to get here today. I was born and raised 2.5 miles north of Ground Zero. Okay? I was born and raised 2.5 miles north of Ground Zero. I am one of the few living Americans that watched the World Trade Center be built twice. And I came from a bad home. I had an alcoholic parent. How many of you have ever either known someone or struggled with that kind of family situation? Raise your hand. It's not an easy deal. It's not an easy deal. You know that. Now, I had another problem. I had a disability that is better known today than it was 40 years ago. I had the disability called dyslexia. Anybody here know what that is? You know what it is? Raise your hand if you know what it is. A lot of you do. But you see, 40 years ago, it was a different deal. We had a different word for dyslexia then. 40 years ago, son, can I tell you what it was called? Dumb. Did you hear me? Okay. See, 40 years ago, we had a different word for it. It's called dumb. So, with an alcoholic parent and dyslexia, I was a lousy student. I barely graduated high school. Barely graduated high school. Now I'm 17, I'm out of the house. I got no money, I got no job, I got no education, I got no parenting. I'm scared and I'm skinny, and I got dyslexia. See, that's what's called, darling, bad cards. See? And isn't that something, friends? How your life goes is in large part how you play your cards. Isn't that something? See, some people get bad cards and play them well. Some people get good cards and play them bad. And a lot of people get medium cards and play them medium. See, if you're born on third base, you didn't hit a triple, son. See? You hear me? Don't make me raise my voice. So, now, I'm 17, I'm scared and I'm skinny. And I got no money, no job, no education, no parenting. And I got dyslexia. So, I had two passions all my life. I just talked to a 17-year-old kid here. I said, do you know what you like? He says, no, I don't know yet. That's okay. But I knew I was interested in two things. As a young person, I was interested in two things all my life. Why? I don't know. I just was. And I'll tell you how to figure out what you're interested in if you care. But I was interested in two things. I was interested in politics, and I was interested in the entertainment industry. Politics and the entertainment industry. Now I'm scared and skinny, and I'm 17, and I'm thinking, what do I do? What do I do? I'm interested in politics. I'm interested in entertainment. And I said, you know what? You know what? I think Washington is just Hollywood for ugly folks. I'm going to LA where the pretty people are. How's that? Darling, I just look stupid. I just look stupid, see? I'm going out where the pretty people are. So I went out there and I met through a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, and so much of life is proximity. You did a big thing today. See, you don't even realize you did a big thing. It's called showing up. Showing up. So through a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, I meet a woman who was working at Paramount Pictures. Now, at that time, in the middle 70s, there weren't a lot of women working at Paramount Pictures other than secretaries. That's interesting. Change. So I meet a woman, I say, what do you do? And she says, well, I'm a publicist. I said, that sounds cool. What's that? She says, well, I work at Paramount Pictures. I'm a publicist. I said, what do you do all day? She said, what do I do all day? I said, yes, what do you do all day? I don't know what a publicist is or does. And she says, well, what I do all day? Oh, I basically bullshit on the phone. I said, I can do that. I can do that. And I decided I wanted to be a
publicist.
Because I could do that. See, I can't do much else. So off I go. Now I start a PR firm. Here's the problem. I don't know what PR is. See, that's a problem. Isn't that something? But if you're motivated, you figure it out. See? If you're motivated, now Clay tells you you gotta have a breakdown before you have a
Breakthrough.
Now, why is that? And I'm gonna tell you, and if you got half a brain, you write it down. Here's why Clay's right. Write it down. Because in the end, human beings respect wisdom, but obey pain. They respect wisdom, but obey pain. Okay? Isn't that something? Why did God design the world that way? I don't know. I'm going to ask him. Right along with, why did you make celery, cheesecake fattening, and celery naan? See, I'm asking that too. All right. So, off I go. And you know, the whole deal is, I told my friend Jonathan at dinner last night, it's a 4-step ladder, isn't it? 4 steps. The first step, this is how I did. How'd you do it? So he said, how'd you get your first client? Come on. Just look, tell me how you did it. I'm buying you dinner. How'd you do it? I said, I'm going to tell you how, but you're not going to like the answer. He said, well, no, you tell me. Come on, tell me. I said, I'm going to tell you, but you're not going to like the answer. He said, all right, tell me. I said, all right, here's how I did it. You want me to tell you how?
We've all been through something that would give us adequate justification for being a lifetime victim. Or we could say we now have adequate motivation to become a victor. I used to stutter as a kid. I grew up poor. I was sexually abused as a kid. My best friend was killed when I was in college. My wife had a late-term miscarriage. My son was born blind. My dad died from Lou Gehrig's disease. And those are not my justifications or my excuses. We could all check the victim box, or we could check the box that says Victor. Today's guest grew up in a home where he was raised by an alcoholic father, and yet he became the #1 public relations consultant of all time. Today's guest grew up severely dyslexic and was called dumb, yet he became a multiple-time New York Times best-selling author. Today's guest grew up in New York, yet he moved to California where he knew no one, and he went on to become the public relations consultant of choice for Nike, for Prince, for President Bush, for Michael Jackson, for Nancy Kerrigan, for Barbara Streisand, for 58 Academy Award winners, 38 Grammy Award winners, and 43 New York Times best-selling authors. And so we had the honor of having Michael Levine attend our last in-person Thrivetime show workshop. And when he spoke about why you need to decide whether you want to become a victim or a victor, I was taking notes, I was wowed by his intensity, and I was making sure that our editors were editing a few of the colorful metaphors and descriptive four-letter words that he was saying during his presentation. And so we edited the show up so that it is now family-friendly. And now, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce to you my epic friend and my PR consultant of choice, Mr. Michael Levine. Michael Levine, folks, let's hear it for him.
Hello. Now, let's see. I want to make sure I can move around a little bit. Can you hear me okay? How are you? Good. It's good to see you. I really do want to move around a little bit and visit with you. I've already met some of you. I have never seen a place like this in my life. It's really fun. And I have never been to Tulsa before. It's cold here. Wow. I'm from California. This is cold. Anyway, I am really thrilled to be here. Thank you, Clay.
I am excited to have Michael here. One, because we brought him to Tulsa, and he's like, Tulsa, is that a place?
Yeah. Is this guy an original or what? Will you applaud an original? I mean, is this guy an original? Now, before I begin, I want to ask you a question. Now, you going to be straight with me or not? You're going to tell me the truth? Because, no, I want to know you. I want you to know me. Is there anyone, I've never been to Tulsa before, and I have, certain images in my mind and all that from California. I was born in New York. And is there anyone here, and feel free to say if you are, is there anyone here that's off-put, offended, off-put by what might be referred to as rough language? Anyone here? Now, come on, tell me. Colorful language. Hush up.
I'm sorry, everybody, in advance.
No? Okay, you all right? All right. That's cool, because if you were, that's all right, too. I used to get a bell sometimes. Instead of cursing, I'd hit the bell, but that's all right. Anyway, listen, let me start with a confession. I'm going to offer you a confession. I fell into this public speaking business by accident. I had no training of any kind, pretty much like all the other things I've done in my life. I fell into it by accident. I had no training. And so if I had gone to some kind of Dale Carnegie course, I guess I would have been told to begin today with a story. And so I will. And I figured, what kind of story can I tell my friends? Does this move out more? Is there any?
I think you might have hit the max capacity.
I hit the max?
I think you hit the maximum capacity.
If somebody...
We have a crack squad of mic extension team members. We can make it happen for you. Marshall's on it. The tallest man in the world is going to help you.
All right. So I'm going to begin with a story, and I figure, what story can I tell my friends in Tulsa? What story? And I'm going to tell you a story because I'm from Hollywood. I'm going to tell you a story about Hollywood. Okay? Now, it's a story about old Hollywood. Old Hollywood. You're too young to remember this. All right. Does anybody here old enough to know or remember the name of the literary agent Swifty Lazar? Anybody here know who Swifty Lazar? Swifty Lazar. You do? All right. Son, who's Swifty Lazar? The biggest literary agent of all time. Now, he passed away years ago, and he was real small, and he had big glasses, but he was the biggest literary agent in the history of Hollywood. And son of a... he spent 6 years of his life signing his biggest client. 6 years to sign his biggest client. Cary Grant. Now, you don't even know who Cary Grant is. Who knows who Cary Grant is? Let me tell you who Cary Grant is, darling. Cary Grant would be George Clooney times 1,000. Yes? Yes, say yes. Don't make me raise my voice. Now, Cary Grant, he signs his biggest client of all time. There's no email then. So he comes into the office, Cary Grant, in his office, signing his client 6 years, signing his contract. He signs his contract. Now, Cary Grant is getting ready to leave the office. Leave the office. And he puts his hand on the door, right, to leave, facing that way. And he says, Mr. Lazar, before I leave, I have one final question. Are you Jewish? And Swifty Lazar was reported to have said, not necessarily. Not necessarily. I guess he wanted that contract. Anyway, as I told you, I had an odd journey to get here today. I was born and raised 2.5 miles north of Ground Zero. Okay? I was born and raised 2.5 miles north of Ground Zero. I am one of the few living Americans that watched the World Trade Center be built twice. And I came from a bad home. I had an alcoholic parent. How many of you have ever either known someone or struggled with that kind of family situation? Raise your hand. It's not an easy deal. It's not an easy deal. You know that. Now, I had another problem. I had a disability that is better known today than it was 40 years ago. I had the disability called dyslexia. Anybody here know what that is? You know what it is? Raise your hand if you know what it is. A lot of you do. But you see, 40 years ago, it was a different deal. We had a different word for dyslexia then. 40 years ago, son, can I tell you what it was called? Dumb. Did you hear me? Okay. See, 40 years ago, we had a different word for it. It's called dumb. So, with an alcoholic parent and dyslexia, I was a lousy student. I barely graduated high school. Barely graduated high school. Now I'm 17, I'm out of the house. I got no money, I got no job, I got no education, I got no parenting. I'm scared and I'm skinny, and I got dyslexia. See, that's what's called, darling, bad cards. See? And isn't that something, friends? How your life goes is in large part how you play your cards. Isn't that something? See, some people get bad cards and play them well. Some people get good cards and play them bad. And a lot of people get medium cards and play them medium. See, if you're born on third base, you didn't hit a triple, son. See? You hear me? Don't make me raise my voice. So, now, I'm 17, I'm scared, and I'm skinny. And I got no money, no job, no education, no parenting. And I got dyslexia. So, I had two passions all my life. I just talked to a 17-year-old kid here. I said, do you know what you like? He says, no, I don't know yet. That's okay. But I knew I was interested in two things. As a young person, I was interested in two things all my life. Why? I don't know. I just was. And I'll tell you how to figure out what you're interested in if you care. But I was interested in two things. I was interested in politics, and I was interested in the entertainment industry. Politics and the entertainment industry. Now, I'm scared and skinny, and I'm 17, and I'm thinking, what do I do? What do I do? I'm interested in politics. I'm interested in entertainment. And I said, you know what? You know what? I think Washington is just Hollywood for ugly folks. I'm going to LA where the pretty people are. How's that? Darling, I just look stupid. I just look stupid, see? I'm going out where the pretty people are. So I went out there and I met through a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, and so much of life is proximity. You did a big thing today. See, you don't even realize you did a big thing. It's called showing up. Showing up. So through a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, I meet a woman who was working at Paramount Pictures. Now, at that time, in the middle 70s, there weren't a lot of women working at Paramount Pictures other than secretaries. That's interesting. Change. So I meet a woman, I say, what do you do? And she says, well, I'm a publicist. I said, that sounds cool. What's that? She says, well, I work at Paramount Pictures. I'm a publicist. I said, what do you do all day? She said, what do I do all day? I said, yes, what do you do all day? I don't know what a publicist is or does. And she says, well, what I do all day? Oh, I basically bullshit on the phone. I said, I can do that. I can do that. And I decided I wanted to be a
publicist.
Because I could do that. See, I can't do much else. So off I go. Now I start a PR firm. Here's the problem. I don't know what PR is. See, that's a problem. Isn't that something? But if you're motivated, you figure it out. See? If you're motivated, now Clay tells you you gotta have a break down before you have a
Breakthrough.
Now, why is that? And I'm gonna tell you, and if you got half a brain, you write it down. Here's why Clay's right. Write it down. Because in the end, human beings respect wisdom, but obey pain. They respect wisdom, but obey pain. Okay, isn't that something? Why did God design the world that way? I don't know. I'm going to ask him. Right along with, why did you make celery, cheesecake fattening, and celery naan? See, I'm asking that too. All right. So, off I go. And you know, the whole deal is, I told my friend Jonathan at dinner last night, it's a 4-step ladder, isn't it? 4 steps. The first step, this is how I did. How'd you do it? So he said, how'd you get your first client? Come on. Just look, tell me how you did it. I'm buying you dinner. How'd you do it? I said, I'm going to tell you how, but you're not going to like the answer. He said, well, no, you tell me. Come on, tell me. I said, I'm going to tell you, but you're not going to like the answer. He said, all right, tell me. I said, all right, here's how I did it. You want me to tell you how I did it? Okay, I'm going to tell you how I did it. Now, you're not going to like the answer. All right, here's how I did it. Ready? Write it down. Will you write it for me? Thanks. Here's how I did it. Listen carefully, please. Somehow. See, if you want something bad enough, you'll do it. How will you do it? Somehow. See, you'll find a way. Through the front door, the back door, the side door, the chimney. Ask a mother of a sick kid how she did it. Okay? Now listen to the 4-step. See, it's 4 steps. And this is how I did it. So step 1 is called work for free. See, very few people will turn you down if you offer to work for free. See, work for free. Now, in that first step, remember, you lose, and all your jack friends at Burger King for 10 an hour are winning. So in step 1, you lose, they win. See how it is? But if you hang in there, you go up to step 2. Now let me tell you about step 2. Step 2 is you work below market, 5 an hour, they work 10. See, in step 2, you lose, they win. See, the Burger King gang still got you beat on step 2. See? You with me? Hang in. It's going to get better. On step 3, you work for market, they work for market. It's 10-10. That's called a tie. See, you finally caught the Burger King gang. See? Now it's a tie. And what happens on step 4? They work for 10, and what happens to you? You work for 1,000, see? Takes 40 hours to make a living, 40 hours to make a fortune. Now, what's 40 plus 40? Nah, see, you didn't like that. There's got to be a shortcut. No, what's wrong with you? By the way, who taught you to look for one? Who sold you on that plan? The same jack that told you not to carry a business card? Come on. You're too smart for that stuff. All right. So I start a PR firm. Now I get lucky and I work hard and I'm working 90 hours a week and all the rest. And because I'm not very talented, but I work hard. See? And I say yes a lot in the beginning. And so this PR firm grows to one of the 3 largest entertainment PR firms in the country. And I start representing a lot of very, very, very famous people. And I've represented Michael Jackson, and Charlton Heston, and Barbra Streisand, and David Bowie, and Prince, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Michael Fox, and Demi Moore, and Sandra Bullock, and Cameron Diaz, and George Carlin, and Joan Rivers, and Suzanne Summers, and Bill O'Reilly, and hundreds and hundreds of other big celebrities. I've given advice to 3 U.S. presidents, including one who just passed away. I've given advice to 3 U.S. presidents, both political parties. So that means I'm a hooker. See, I'm a hooker. You got it? Both parties. How's that? You didn't know I was a hooker, did you? Makes you like me better. I know. Easy. All right, so now I start to get obsessed with a question. As I'm representing these big, big stars, huge stars, I start getting obsessed with a question. And this question that obsessed me has obsessed me for 35 years. And it is really why I came today, to share the question and my answer. It obsessed me. I cannot tell you why it obsessed me, but it obsessed me. And the question was there something that these super successful people knew that we mere mortals did not know, or was their success merely luck, right place, right time? Were the Beatles just in the right place at the right time? Or was there something they knew that mere mortals like myself did not know? And if there was something, was the something transferable? Was the something transferable if there was something? Now remember, I didn't get good cards. So I was real invested in this question, because if there wasn't something and it wasn't transferable, then I'm see? Because I didn't get good cards. But if there was something and it was transferable, then maybe I could borrow it, which is a polite word for steal it. Steal it, see? So, off I go and I start asking the question, is there something that Oprah Winfrey and Bill Clinton have in common except a lot of dough? Is there something that Michael Jordan has in common with Bill Gates, except they got a lot of dough? Is there something? And at first, it didn't seem that there was. So it seems like I'm... But I stuck with the question because I was obsessed by it. And I asked the question again and again and again for a long period of time. Not a week, not a month, not a year, not a few years. Over and over again for years. And you know, the funniest thing happened. After a few years, I thought I saw in the distance, in the desert of my mind, a little green, a little patch of green. Now maybe it's a mirage. Maybe I'm crazy. She thinks I'm crazy. But I stuck with it. And I came to conclude that over time, there were 3 qualities present in all super successful people, 100 times out of 100. Now listen to me carefully, please. I said super successful. Friends, if you're sitting here today, all polite, looking good, smelling good, and you're just interested in success, not super success, just success, you don't need to write down a thing. You can go to sleep for the rest of the whole deal. You don't need to write down anything because you're gonna be successful without a word. I'm telling you, you are. I give you my guarantee. Why? Why do you say, thank you, I'm gonna be successful? Yes, you're gonna be successful. Without a word, you don't need to write down a thing. Well, how can you tell me that, Michael? That's such good news, but how could you tell me that? Well, in large part because, what's your name, darling? Gina? Because, Gina, you were fortunate enough to be born into a civilization at exactly the moment in human history in which your competition is overwhelmingly stupid and lazy. See, Gina, you don't got to do much to be successful today except show up sober. Because your competition is
Norma.
stupid and lazy. Overwhelmingly. I'm just saying. That's good news for you. But if you say, wait, hold it. I didn't come here to come for I didn't want to fly in coach. I want to go to the first class deal. I don't want to know about the success plan. I want to know about the super success plan. Well, if that's your interest, my best counsel to you over the next few minutes is start writing. Start writing. All super successful people had 3 qualities present 100 times out of 100. Maybe you didn't hear me. All super successful people, anyone that you venerate, alive or dead, had 3 qualities present 100 times out of 100. Natural law. Number 1, and I'm going to try to do it for you in a memorable way so you can remember it. We'll call them 3 magic O's. What do you say, 3 O's? Okay, 3 O's. Here we go. 1, obsession. An obsession. They had something that I refer to as an obsession, which is analogous to a burning maniacal rage, as if your life depended on it. Did you hear me, or do you need me to raise my voice, darling? I said an obsession, a burning maniacal rage, as if your life depended on it. Yes? Now listen to me. How are you in the back? Listen to me. It wasn't ambition. Guys, think about this. Close your eyes if you choose. You all know a bunch of ambitious folks, friends of yours, that can't find their way out of a burning building. But they're ambitious. It's not ambition, it's something deeper, more primal, more intense. It's obsession, a burning, maniacal rage, as if your life depended on it. Number 2, they had an optimism, but it was the most unusual version of optimism. It was not naive, like you watch this great documentary about Mr. Rogers, what comes around goes around, and all that stuff. It wasn't that kind of optimism, friends. It was a different one. And it was an optimism. Well, first of all, how many of you understand the concept or feel you have a modest understanding of the concept of paradox? Paradox. Raise your hand if you feel like you're modest. Okay, son, what's paradox? Contradictory statement. Okay. Love is beautiful, but love is painful. Love is joyful. Love is painful. So this optimism that our super successful friends had was paradoxical. It was an optimism. Now write this down. I'll come back there if I have to. Yeah. It was an optimism created after a militant need. It was an optimism created after a militant need. Militant need could almost be like an addiction. It was an optimism born after a militant need to face the brutal facts. And here, my dear friends, were the two brutal facts that our super successful friends discovered when they peered into the face of destiny. 1, the game is not easy. The game is not easy. 2, the game is not fair. The game is not easy, and the game is not fair. So do me a favor. Don't waste any of your precious time on this earth complaining about that a lot. That's a bad plan. See, don't sign up for that class, darling. When somebody says to you, I don't think the game is easy, let's complain about it. Say, I'm not signing up for that class. Don't sign up for that class. Hey, you know what, Mary? I don't think the game is fair. I know, you're right, but I'm not signing up for that class. Don't. That's a bad class. You don't have time for that class. That's for the other folks. But our super successful friends came to conclude, though the game is not easy, and though the game is not fair, with enough burning maniacal rage, the game is winnable, though not easy and though not fair. The game is winnable, though not easy and though not fair. Optimism. Greatest thing ever said to, I try real hard. I've known a lot of famous people. I don't know how that happened to me, but I did, and I try real hard. And I'm not perfect at it, but I try hard not to name drop too much in my talks, because that's cheating. But the smartest thing ever said to me on the topic of optimism was said to me by General Colin Powell in only 6 words. Now, pretty good. Profundity in 6 words. That's not bad. So he said, and I don't count my name as one of the words. See, I took that out. He said, Michael, he's a big general. He said, Michael, by the way, try to be profound in 6 words. Try it sometime. He said, Michael, perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. Look at me, please. Perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. So he was a military general, and what that means in English is this. If you take 10 men, or women, and you put them in a military environment, and you saturate them with optimism, those 10 men can fight with a force of 50. Those 10 can fight with the force of 50. If you take those same 10 men or women and you put them in the same environment and you saturate them with negativity, those 10 men can't fight with the force of 2. See, this is what's got me so concerned about our friends in the minority community. From the moment they take their first breath of air, they're told, you can't, you're a victim, you're a victim, you're a victim. Now, son, if you want to be broke in America, or darling, if you want to be broke in America, I can tell you how to do it. It's real easy. All you got to do is think like a victim. And I promise you, your ass will be broke in America. Son, if you want to be broke in America, all you got to do is go home and think like a victim. You'll be broke. I promise you. Don't worry about it. I promise you, 100%. If you said to me, Michael, which would you prefer, a young African-American kid or Hispanic kid? Smoke crack cocaine or inhale daily belief of victimhood? I say, can I think about it? Can I think about it for a while? I don't know. I'm not sure. Let me think about it. Okay. Now, the last is the last O. So the first O is obsession. The second O is optimism. But it's an unusual, paradoxical version of optimism. Now, the third is called obligation. All super successful people had an unnatural commitment to their word, particularly to themselves. Impeccable with their word, particularly to themselves. Let me tell you something I noticed, and maybe you have too, if you think about it. Here's what super successful people didn't say. Most folks say, you know, next year I'm going to lose some weight. Next year I'm going to lose some weight. That's what most folks say. Super successful people say 12 pounds, April 17th. 12 pounds. And you know what they do? They tell folks. And they almost always write them. You see all these on the wall? That stuff is powerful, see? Because that's a pledge now. See? Everybody can see it. Isn't that something? 12 pounds, April 17th, son. See? Written. They don't say I'm going to lose some weight. Because if you say I'm going to lose some weight next year, how's that work out? Generally not as good, right? All people were impeccable with their word, particularly to themselves. They had a plan, almost always written. See? What kind of jack goes on a car trip without a map? Tell me about that. They have, and by the way, if I say to you, hey, kid, what's your name? Justin. Brother Justin, you got a plan? Oh, yeah, I got a plan. I said, great, Justin, that's great. How old are you, son? 37. I got ties older than you, son. Okay, now I say, Justin, you got a plan? Yeah, I got one. Great. Show it to me, son. Well, I got it in my head. Does Justin have a plan? Or does Justin have a bunch of pretty ideas floating around his adorable head? He don't have a plan. Now, he's so dumb he doesn't know it. He thinks he's got a plan. See? He don't have a plan. You got a plan that's written. Almost always shared with folks. Particularly folks who are tough on you, who will be willing, not delighted, but willing to stick their foot in your rectum if necessary. And you know, it was said to me by a black preacher once, and it was so interesting and so true. I used to host a TV show, and he said something. He says, you know, Michael, very few people in the world wouldn't be better off without a good cussing out about once a month. Isn't that something? So I called him up 10 years later. I said, Pastor, you know, you said the most interesting thing to me 10 years ago. You said, very few people in the world wouldn't be better off without a good cussing out once a month. I said, do you still believe that? He paused for a long time on the phone. He said, maybe twice. Isn't that something? Do you have friends in your life who love you enough to cuss you out once in a while? Do you? Do you? So, obligation. Commitment to their word, particularly to themselves. On the rare occasion, Wednesday at 7 o'clock in the morning didn't mean Thursday at 10:15. And listen, when people who were super successful missed their goal, their commitment, who do you think the super successful folks blamed? Who? Themselves. How's that for weird? How's that? How's that for saying, no. They didn't come into a room 15 minutes later and say, oh yeah, you know, there's a lot of traffic. There's always a lot of traffic, son. What's wrong with you? Come on, you didn't leave early enough. Now, they said, no, I'm late, it's my fault. Oh, come on, don't worry about it. There's traffic. No, you didn't hear me. I don't think you heard me real well. It's my fault. It won't happen again. See, I had a teaching moment. It's not going to happen again. It's my fault. Now, how many people do you know like that? So our super successful friends had these three qualities. And with the third O, which is the obligation, with the third O comes today's only voluntary homework assignment. So you're going to get the best kind of homework assignment right now. It's voluntary. You don't have to do it. And I'm going to give you some more good news. You ready? You ready for the voluntary homework assignment? Obligation, number 3O, comes with a voluntary homework assignment. It's voluntary. You don't have to do it. And more good news. If you decide to do it, you can do it in 10 minutes or less. You can do it in the next 24 hours. And you can do it for free. It's not bad. What's your name? Josiah. Listen to me. This you can do in the next 10 minutes. Oh, you can do it in the next 24 hours in 10 minutes or less for free. How's that? It's not bad. And it's voluntary. I got even better news. Listen to this. If you do it, I will give you a 100% money-back guarantee that this one homework assignment, just this one homework assignment, will change your life instantly. radically, it's good, and permanently. Just this one thing. Listen to me. What's your name? Are you listening? Good. If you do this one homework assignment, change your life. I'm going to give you a guarantee. 100%. You cannot lose instantly, radically, and permanently. You ready? Okay, here's what you got to do. You got to make a commitment in the next 24 hours to go home and fire your flaky friends. You got to go home in the next 24 hours and fire your flaky friends. Why is that? Why? Because nothing will interfere with your capacity to reach your fullest and highest potential like the secondhand fumes of flakiness. Did you hear me? Do you need me to say it again? Are you sure? Nothing will interfere with your capacity to reach your fullest and highest potential like the secondhand fumes of flakiness. That's it, guys. 3 O's. 3 O's. And I believe that later today, I'm not sure how Clay has set this up exactly, but I believe that later today, I will be gifted with the opportunity of hearing and discussing some of your questions, comments, suggestions, and alternative speeches. Particularly interested in hearing from people who have some kind of silent urge inside them to come up to me and punch me in the nose. But we have, I believe, about 10 minutes left. And in that time, I'd love to just see if we could do a couple of questions, comments, suggestions, and alternative speeches. Now, I do want to tell you one last thing. You know, writing a book, very few people in the world, many people want to write a book, very few do. But it's the most unusual experience in so many ways, but here's one way. Writing a book is like putting and ask anybody who's ever written one if this is true, and I think they'll agree. I think Clay will agree and others. Writing a book is like putting a message in a bottle and throwing it out to sea. And you're never quite sure who's going to see it, if it's going to be seen. It's an odd thing. It's a very unusual thing. And so I come to Tulsa, and I meet you. Some of you I meet personally, some I just meet in a group. But you know, I leave tomorrow, right? And it's an interesting thing. in a strange kind of way, I take you with me, don't I? Isn't that something? I take you with me in a strange kind of way, right? And I guess you, in a strange kind of way, particularly maybe if you took some notes, you take me with you. Isn't that interesting? And last night, you didn't even know who I was, and I didn't know who you were, and there was nothing on a book, and all the rest. Isn't that wacky? Kind of wacky thing, isn't it? And, we meet again. Or maybe we won't. Maybe we will. But isn't that, and we certainly in today's world can stay in touch via email or phone call or any you understand how that can be today, but I take you with me, and you take me with you. That's interesting. A kind of wacky thing. Never expected it. So, let's do this. We have about 7 minutes left, and I'm going to try this out. See if you like this. We're going to do men versus women. Hold on, darling. Men versus women. So, the women get to ask the first question or comment. Now, you don't have to do a question. It can be a comment. You can either choose a question or a comment. We're going to go with women first, and then we're going to go to the guys, if they've got the guts, which I doubt they do, but they might. So, you see how it is? So, women first. Who has got a question or a comment? Question or comment? Young lady, would you please stand up and tell me your first name? Angela? Sister Angela, go. I can't come, I want to, but I can't reach you. But what's your question or comment? First, is it question or comment? A question from Sister Angela. Go. Can I give you an example? By the way, yes, I can. But hold on. Yeah, will I? Yes, I will. But just raise your hand if any of you can think of how flakiness has cut off your potential in your life. Raise your hand. We can all give examples of some kind or another. Look, Angela, you got to make a decision of how you're going to live your life. You only get 168 hours a week, darling, and you get the same 168 that Oprah gets, and Barack Obama gets, and Bill Clinton gets, and Michael Jordan gets. You get the same 168 hours. Now, one of the problems of flakiness is really fucking expensive from a time point of view, isn't it? Chasing people around, trying to keep people. You like herding cats, darling? You got better things to do than herd cats?
Get ready to enter the Thrivetime Show. 3, 2, 1, boom!
All right, Thrive Nation. This episode, this segment of today's broadcast is going to be a good one. Now, we have the rest of the interview that you can find exclusively at Thrivetime Show on the podcasts section, but this interview is incredible. I had an opportunity to interview a friend and a mentor on the Thrivetime Show videos and a consultant. The guy who's been the PR consultant for Michael Jackson, for Nike, for Prince, for Pizza Hut, for just the top brands. I mean, Charlton Heston, Nancy Kerrigan. I'm not just listing celebrities. Cameron Diaz, look him up. His name's Michael Levine, Levine. And I asked him, what does it take to be successful? I was asking about the core concept is how, what kind of distractions do you need to say no to become a successful entrepreneur? What distractions do you have to say no to if you are going to achieve massive success? Now, if you want to achieve mediocre success, then you definitely don't want to hear this segment. But if you want to achieve massive success, if you want to achieve time freedom and financial freedom to do whatever the heck you want to do, then you really want to grab a pen. I just tell you this: grab a pen, grab a paper, grab a helmet, probably. Maybe grab some kind of protective device, because he's so intense in a positive way. And this question fired him up. I mean, this question here, the question being, what do you need to do? What do you need to do in terms of saying no to distractions to become successful? What distractions do you and I need to say no to if we're going to become successful?
Well, in your book, you talked about this obstetrician in Dallas. It was Walter Evans. And basically what they did was they guess they gave the mothers a special ride home from the hospital. Can you explain a little bit about that, or what that was all like?
I can't explain it anymore with any more clarity than to say, if you had two obstetricians and one said, why don't you hitchhike home, and the other one said, we'll drive you home, which one do you think would create a relationship with you that's more caring and more...
This person did limo service, I believe. That's amazing.
Maybe.
This is, if you're watching this, I encourage you to think of how can you exceed the customer's expectation? How can you do it? Yeah.
I agree with you, and that's cool. We both agree. How do you exceed the customer's expectations?
Yeah.
Think about how you, that's what you said, think about. And I say, yes, 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 but Brother Clay and people watching, thinking takes time. Thinking takes time. Put your Facebook off. Put your cell phone down. Put your Candy Crush down. Think, work. Do you know what percentage, Clay? Do you know what percentage of Americans currently have a library card?
I would say it had to be less than 2%.
Okay. The correct answer is 3.
3%. Oh.
97% of Americans think it would be a really cool, good idea not to have a library card. Now, by the way, you know the cost of a library card, Clay?
I think it's free, actually.
Free.
Best-selling author Clifton Talbert, who's my mentor, he told me that rich people have big libraries, poor people have big TVs.
Yes!
And so he was telling me, he says, you've got to get up. I said, I'm not an early morning guy. He says, well, here's the deal. Are you ambitious? And I said, yeah. He says, well, if you're ambitious, and you're either going to be a divorced guy or you're going to be a guy who's getting up early. So you need to figure out a way, because you can't do both simultaneously. You've got to get up early. And I just
when you go into college, any young college kid will tell you a good professor welcomes you, says you can have good grades, good friends, or good sleep. You can only have 2. Pick them. You got it. But think about this. Let's just take this. Let's just pause for a minute. Let's think about this. 100 Americans. We go to an airport, we pick 100 Americans, we put them in a circle. We say, hello, hello. How are you, my good and valuable friends? How many of you have library cards? 3 raise their hand. 97 say, no, we don't. Now, that's 97 people out of 100 walking around America thinking this is a cool, good idea. Okay? It's free.
Yeah.
Now, we go to the 97 and we look at their lives. We go on Facebook, right? See what they're up to. What's going on? In the soulful words of Marvin Gaye, what's going on?
What's going on?
And we look at it and we say, oh, you didn't have time for library, but I see. What's going on?
Yeah.
Kitty cat. Food picture. Candy Crush. I see. I got confused. I thought you were trying to get ahead.
Wow, knowledge bombs everywhere. So this just in, the message is this just in from the Michael Levine PR offices. You got to say no to distractions. We talk about it all the time on the Thrivetime show. I would just tell you this as a ratio. If you will turn your phone off, your smartphone, 80% of your day, for almost every person listening, if you just turn your smartphone off for 80% of your day and spend your time focusing on fixing your workflow, fixing your website. I mean, just earlier today, I was proofing some website updates that we're doing to eitrlounge.com. So you know how long it takes to proof a website and to make the changes on a website where I hit print and then I look at it? Do you know how long I take on that usually for myself? Just for a page. I mean, do you want to speculate? Like an hour for one page of my website. And why do I take an hour? Because when you go to eitrlounge.com, we're a men's grooming business, and it shouldn't be super confusing as to what to do. But by default, I typically do a bad job because I don't know. You have to think about it. You can't write a good book quickly. You can't come up with a best-selling book quickly. You can't build a successful business quickly. So it occurred to me that after talking to thousands of customers that we marketed intensely to get at Elephant in the Room, when I say interviewed, I mean our team has literally asked thousands of men, what did you like most about your experience? How could we improve? What did you like most about your experience? How can we improve? We determined that the men who have been to Elephant in the Room to get their hair cut, they said, if I can get a beverage with my haircut, that's a win. If I can get a consultation, that's a win. If I can get an award-winning tailored haircut, that's a win. If I can get a shampoo and a massage, that is a win. If I could get a condition and massage, that's a win. If I could get a hot towel treatment, that is a win. If I could get face moisturizer, that is a win. If you guys can make sure that I don't get out of here looking like a Yeti, if you can help me have some sort of style, I don't know if I can have Tom Brady hair, but if I can get out of there looking good, having some good hair, having some good lettuce, if my mop looks like it's properly chopped, then I win. And so once we nailed the experience, we realized, okay, we need to probably make this haircut an absolute no-brainer because it is. The service is so good that we have to bet on our business, bet on our model, bet on our plan. And so your first haircut at Elephant in the Room is just $1. And why is your first haircut $1? Because we built an experience that's that good now. So now I'm willing to pay our team in between marketing, the hard costs of paying someone to actually cut your hair, and the team of people up there to help you. Your $1 haircut costs me $23. That's what the average haircut costs me to do the first time. You know what I mean? I don't make any money. The stylists aren't getting rich off of that. Usually the people tip well if they do the $1 haircut. But it's $1. And how did we come up with all the text on our website and the experience and the overall thing and the overall atmosphere we've built? It's by deeply studying something. And so if you want to become successful, like Michael Levine says, you got to put down the Candy Crush. You got to quit taking photos of your food. You got to get off of Facebook. You got to quit talking to everybody all the time about how they feel, about how you feel. You don't need to join another community on Facebook. You don't need to join another peer group at church. You just need to commit to the few things you're into. And so if you want to meet a group of peers that are just like you, that are saying no to distractions and who are building a successful company, I would highly recommend that you go to thrivetimeshow.com and you would book your tickets for our February 16th and 17th workshop. February 16th and 17th of 2018, that'll be held at our Jinx Riverwalk location in beautiful Jinx, America, at the Riverwalk there on the left coast of the Arkansas River. And some of you might be saying, listen, buddy, I've got a lot of stuff going on, so you're going to have to explain to me what you're going to teach if you want me to be there. Okay, well, we're going to teach you at the workshop, so specifically time management, how to generate leads, marketing strategy, branding. It's going to help you with your accounting, your financial planning, how to create a linear workflow, how to hire and fire people the right way, how to have the millionaire mindset, how to balance faith, family, finance, fitness, friendship, and fun. It's all going to be taught there at the Thrivetime Show workshop. You can get your tickets today by going to Thrivetime Show and clicking on the conferences button. Or if you want to get a free ticket, just write us an objective review on iTunes and send us proof that you did it by emailing us to info@thrivetimeshow.com. That's info@thrivetimeshow.com. Stay tuned.
Get ready to enter the Thrivetime Show. 3, 2, 1, boom!
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the Thrivetime Show on your radio. Today we have the pleasure of playing a few exclusive excerpts from an interview that I did with Michael Levine, perhaps the world's #1 public relations consultant of all time. He was the PR
bit of a guru.
A bit of a guru.
Yeah.
He's a consultant of choice for Prince, for Michael Jackson, never heard of him. Nike,
Pizza Hut.
These are all vague brands I've never heard
what?
of. Nancy Kerrigan. I don't know if you know who she is.
The Clintons.
The Clintons, the Bushes,
Oh, my
Cameron Diaz, sort of a big deal. Now, we're going to have the rest of this interview available for you on the podcast version, but on today's radio show, both this segment and the next two, we're going to be playing excerpts from the Michael Levine interviews. And so we're going to be dropping into a conversation that he and I had about the habits of super successful people, the characteristics of super successful people.
I think what is interesting about what you're doing, at least I believe so, is that is what I'm hearing you say, or what I'm hearing you do, is framing it in super success. You are not engaging in a conversation about what successful people do.
Okay.
You are engaging in a conversation about what super successful people do.
Yeah.
And so, if somebody's watching this right now and they want to be a regional manager of the Starbucks in their local city, or in their local, in their city, they don't need to watch this. But if they want to own Starbucks, I'd take notes.
This is the super successful.
Super successful.
Only one
This is
president
not, that's
of the U.S.
right.
at a time.
This is not the 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000, 1 in 100,000, 1 in a million. See, this is the deal on the 1 in a billion.
Well, here we go. We're going to talk about this first success characteristic, or this first success principle.
Yes, sir.
Definiteness of purpose. Now, Napoleon Hill wrote, "Definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all achievement. Without a purpose and a plan, people drift aimlessly through life." Michael, have you witnessed this trait of super successful people? Do they all know where they're going, or at least seem to have a purpose?
Clay, the quality, first of all, when we're autopsying or discussing the qualities of super success, now I've had a very, very unique vantage point. But when you're talking about these qualities, what is it that Michael Jordan and Bill Clinton have in common, other than they got a lot of money? What is it that Oprah and Julia Roberts have in common, other than they got a lot of money and so forth? So you try to ask this definiteness of purpose. And the quality that I've observed, the way I would word it and frame it as a medical doctor, is a quality that I would refer to as obsession.
Obsession.
Obsession. Now, I think I've confessed to you, Clay, I am terrible. For some weird, wacky reason, I am terrible at dictionary definitions.
Okay.
But what I'd like to do in discussing obsession for a moment is talk about first what it isn't. Obsession is not ambition. See, all of us know people who are ambitious, but couldn't find their way out of a burning building. Okay? This quality that I'm referring to in super success, this obsession, is something deeper, more primal, more intense than ambition. So then we say, okay, what is it then, mister? It is a burning, maniacal rage, as if your life depended on it. A burning, maniacal rage, as if your life depended on it. That, my dear valued friend,
is what is at the core, the DNA of the super successful people.
Chubb, as we wrap up that Michael Levine excerpt about super successful people, he kept saying that at the very core of ultra successful people is a burning, maniacal rage to be successful.
I like how he puts that. That's
so. I mean, you've been around me, and and a lot of people who listen to the show say, "Well, off air, how am I different than on air?" I think that question's asked a lot, and my take is that on the show, I do have to play a little nicer,
right,
than I would. I don't think I'm mean at the office, but it's more of like if there's a deadline.
The difference is you're not holding the listeners accountable.
Oh, okay.
Right. We're not paying them. It's not a thing. So I would say that rage term, that actually kind of goes good. You're kind of like a raging bull, but that rage is more like a focus on your to-do list.
The number of new customers that we've had is up 411% over last year. We are Jared and Jennifer Johnson. We own Platinum Pest and Lawn and are located in Owasso, Oklahoma. And we have been working with Thrive for business coaching for almost a year now.
Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to share some wins with you guys that we've had by working with Thrive. First of all, we're on the top page of Google now. Okay. I just want to let you know what type of accomplishment this is. Our competition, Orkin, Terminex, they're both $1.3 billion companies. They both have 2,000 to 3,000 pages of content attached to their website. So to basically go from virtually non-existent on Google to up on the top page is really saying something. But that's come by being diligent to the systems that Thrive has, by being consistent and diligent on doing podcasts and staying on top of those podcasts to really help with getting up on with their listing and ranking there with Google.
And also we've been trying to get Google reviews, asking our customers for reviews. And now we're the highest rated and most reviewed pest and lawn company in the Tulsa area. And that's really helped with our conversion rate. And the number of new customers that we've had is up 411% over last year.
Wait, say that again. How much are we up?
411%.
Okay, so 411% we're up with our new customers. Amazing.
Right. So not only do we have more customers calling in, we're able to close those deals at a much higher rate than we were before. Right now, our closing rate is about 85%, and that's largely due to, first of all, like our Google reviews that we've gotten people really see that our customers are happy, but also we have a script that we follow. And so when customers call in, they get all the information that they need. That script has been refined time and time again. It wasn't a one and done deal. It was a system that we followed with Thrive in the refining process, and that has obviously the 411% shows that system works.
Yeah, so here's a big one for you. So last week alone, our booking percentage was 91%. We actually booked more deals, more new customers last year than we did the first 5 months, or I'm sorry, we booked more deals last week than we did the first 5 months of last year from before we worked with Thrive. So again, we booked more deals last week than the first 5 months of last year. And it's incredible. But the reason why we have that success is by implementing the systems that Thrive has taught us and helped us out with.
Some of those systems that we've implemented are group interviews. That way we've really been able to come up with a really great team. We've created and implemented checklists. That way everything gets done and it gets done right. It creates accountability. We're able to make sure that everything gets done properly, both out in the field and also in our office. And also doing the podcast, like Jared had mentioned, that has really, really contributed to our success. But that, like I said, the diligence and consistency in doing those and that system has really, really been a big blessing in our lives. And also, it's really shown that we've gotten the success from following those systems.
Yeah. So before working with Thrive, we were basically stuck. Really no new growth with our business. And we were in a rut and we didn't know.
The last 3 years, our customer base had pretty much stayed the same. We weren't shrinking, but we weren't really growing either.
Yeah, and so we didn't really know where to go, what to do, how to get out of this rut that we're in. But Thrive helped us with that. They implemented those systems. They taught us those systems. They taught us the knowledge that we needed in order to succeed. Now it's been a grind. Absolutely, it's been a grind this last year. but we're getting those fruits from that hard work and the diligent effort that we're able to put into it. So again, we were in a rut. Thrive helped us get out of that rut. And if you're thinking about working with Thrive, quit thinking about it and just do it. Do the action, and you'll get the results. It will take hard work and discipline, but that's what it's going to take in order to really succeed. So we just want to give a big shout out to Thrive, a big thank you out there to Thrive. We wouldn't be where we're at now without their help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Morrow. I'm a pediatric dentist. Through our new digital marketing plan, we have seen a marked increase in the number of new patients that we're seeing every month, year over year. One month, for example, we went from 110 new patients the previous year to over 180 new patients in the same month. And overall, our average is running about 40 to 42% increase month over month, year over year. The group of people required to implement our new digital marketing plan is immense, starting with a business coach, videographers, photographers, web designers. Back when I graduated dental school in 1985, nobody advertised. The only marketing that was ethically allowed in everybody's eyes was mouth-to-mouth marketing. By choosing to use the services, you're choosing to use a proven turnkey marketing and coaching system that will grow your practice and get you the results that you're looking for. I went to the University of Oklahoma College of Dentistry, graduated in 1983, and then I did my pediatric dental residency at Baylor College of Dentistry from 1983 to 1985.
Hello, my name is Charles Kolaw with Kolaw Fitness. Today I want to tell you a little bit about Clay Clark and how I know Clay Clark. Clay Clark has been my business coach since 2017. He's helped us grow from 2 locations to now 6 locations. We're planning to do 7 locations in 7 years and then franchise. And Clay has done a great job of helping us navigate anything that has to do with like running the business, building the systems, the checklists, the workflows, the audits, how to navigate lease agreements, how to buy property, how to work with brokers and builders. This guy is just amazing. He's this kind of guy has worked in every single industry. He's written books with like Lee Crockrell, head of Disney, with the 40,000 cast members. He's friends with like Mike Lindell. He does Reawaken America tours where he does these tours all across the country where 10,000 or more people show up to some of these tours. On the day-to-day, he does anywhere from about 160 companies. He's at the top. He has a team of business coaches, videographers, and graphic designers and web developers, and they run 160 companies every single week. So think of this guy with a team of business coaches running 160 companies. So in the weekly, he's running 160 companies. Every 6 to 8 weeks, he's doing Reawaken America tours. Every 6 to 8 weeks, he's also doing business conferences where 200 people show up, and he teaches people a 13-step proven system that he's done and worked with billionaires, helping them grow their companies. So I've seen guys from startups go from startup to being multimillionaires, teaching people how to get time freedom and financial freedom through the system. Critical thinking, document creation, putting it into organizing everything in their head to building it into a franchisable, scalable business. Like one of his businesses has like 500 franchises. That's just one of the companies or brands that he works with. So amazing guy. Elon Musk kind of like smart guy. He kind of comes off sometimes as socially awkward, but he's so brilliant and he's taught me so much. When I say that, like Clay is like, he doesn't care what people think when you're talking to him. He cares about where you're going in your life and where he can get you to go. And that's what I like most about him. He's like a good coach. A coach isn't just making you feel good all the time. A coach is actually helping you get to the best you. And Clay has been an amazing business coach. Through the course of that, we became friends. I was really most impressed with him is when I was shadowing him one time. We went into a business deal and listened to it. I got to shadow and listen to it. And when we walked out, I knew that he could make millions on the deal. And they were super excited about working with him. And he told me, he's like, I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to turn it down because he knew it was going to harm the common good of people in the long run. And the guy's integrity just really wowed me. It brought tears to my eyes to see that this guy, his highest desire was to do what's right. And anyways, just an amazing man. So anyways, impacted me a lot. He's helped navigate anytime I've got nervous or worried about how to run the company or navigating competition and an economy that's like, I remember we got closed down for 3 months. He helped us navigate on how to stay open, how to get back open, how to just survive through all the COVID shutdowns, lockdowns.
I'm Rachel with Tip Top Canine, and we just want to give a huge thank you to Clay and Vanessa Clark.
Hey guys, I'm Ryan with Tip Top Canine. Just want to say a big thank you to Thrive 15. Thank you to Make Your Life Epic. We love you guys, we appreciate you, and really just appreciate how far you've taken us.
This is our old house, right? This is where we used to live a few years ago. This is our old neighborhood. As you can see, it's nice, right?
So this is my old van and our old school marketing, and this is our old team. And by team, I mean it's me and another guy.
This is our new house with our new neighborhood.
This is our new van with our new marketing, and this is our new team. We went from 4 to 14, and I took this beautiful photo. We worked with several different business coaches in the past, and they were all about helping Ryan sell better and just teaching sales, which is awesome, but Ryan is a really great salesman. So we didn't need that. We needed somebody to help us get everything that was in his head out into systems, into manuals and scripts, and actually build a team. So now that we have systems in place, we've gone from 1 to 10 locations in only a year.
In October 2016, we grossed 13 grand for the whole month. Right now it's 2018, the month of October. It's only the 22nd. We've already grossed a little over 50 grand for the whole month, and we still have time to go. We're just thankful for you, thankful for Thrive and your mentorship, and we're really thankful that you guys have helped us to grow a business that we run now instead of the business running us. Just thank you times 1,000.
The Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the world's highest rated and most reviewed business workshops because we teach you what you need to know to grow.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, but I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.
And now you may be thinking, what does it actually cost to attend an in-person 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshop? Well, good news. The tickets are $250 or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, they're $250 or whatever price you can afford. I grew up without money, and I know what it's like to live without money. So if you're out there today and you want to attend our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop, all you got to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com to request those tickets. And if you can't afford $250, we have scholarship pricing available to make it affordable for you.